So hello friends, welcome to Wellness by All Means Forum. I'm Manoj Joshi, and today is a great occasion for us to invite one of the heroes of our time. He is none other than a very iconic man, Mr. Pratap Chandra Sarangi, who is 65 years old from Baleswar in Odisha. He is a current minister in the government of India right now. Fondly called Odisha's Modi, lives in a hut, owns a bicycle, has opened thousands of schools in tribal areas, activist against liquor and corruption, campaigned in an auto. He is also known as Nana. In Odia, we call it who is a big brother. So, welcome, sir. Thank you very much. It's a great honor for us to have you in our forum, and we will be definitely inspired with your ideologies and with your integrity, with your commitment to the people of Odisha, to the people of country and people of the world, to be a good leader. What are the different principles that you would like to tell us? Like, what are the mantras, 5 principles of your leadership skills?
Namaskar. I congratulate you all for having invited me to have exchange of ideas. But exactly, I do not believe that I am a very successful man. But the principles which I have inherited from my mother and under the evil guidance of my teachers and my inspirations, Swami Vivekananda, I will sum up a few principles. Number 1 is faith. Faith and concentration is a necessity for any success, any achievement. And I believe in faith, I believe in myself, the purity of my intention. I believe in my countrymen, I believe in God. Swami Vivekananda used to say, faith in yourself, faith in God. If you have faith in the 330 millions of your mythological gods and goddesses, and in all the gods and goddesses which foreigners have introduced into your midst time and again, but have no faith in yourself, there is no salvation for you. So a man who wants to succeed should not lose faith in small obstacles. In our Shastras, it is said that there are 3 types of men. Prarabhyate vigna bhayena nichahi. Prarabdha vigna vita viramanti matya. Vignai punaha punarapi pratyanyamana. Prarabdha muttama jana na parityajan. Arthat, the worst people, the third grade, the adhama people, never start any attempt for fear of failure. A farmer of adhama category may not start farming saying that there will be flood and famine, there will be crop failure. And the middle group starts, but a simple obstacle is sufficient to stop his attempt. Suppose somebody started coconut plantation, 5,000 coconut plantation is farmed. But after 6 months, one of his kith and kin died. Now the pandits in the village asked to him to give free advice. You committed a big blunder, a crime, a sin, because coconut plantation is not conducive to your planted position. Now this superstition overpowered him. Superstition is the biggest enemy of man. So his scientific frame of mind is not influenced by these things. So this he will stop. Even after 5 generations, they will remember that coconut plantation is not conducive to our family. Then the third category is the supreme category, or uttama category of men. Although they are hurt by hundreds and thousands of obstacles, but they start their attempt once again. Failures do not check their progress, so they will get success. So uttama prarabdha uttama jana na parityajanti. They never give up their attempt. The second one is love for truth and justice. I think I have never taken the help of nepotism. Whenever a chance comes to me to select, I never select my relatives. Even when I was MLA, I never given anything, any favor to my relatives, my kith and kin, even the approach. Even our workers also approached. They have worked for you. They worked for me because they are my blood relation. But you worked for me because you love the party. It's their bounden duty. For that they cannot demand any favor. The mother cannot demand any favor because she gives milk to this boy. So it is their duty. Now you work for what? So it's your demand, but I cannot favor them. They will get all these favors when I am out of the power. Now, no prejudice, no nepotism. Even when many interviews I were to head, I was the chairman of the committee in the capacity of my MLA and president of colleges. Many relatives, many near and dear ones, even my students approached me for a post. I never succumbed to their request. Only the most competent one will be selected by the board and they will be. Never made any compromise, whatever. Even the workers may get angry, but I never made any compromise with untruth. So love for truth and justice. Whenever there is a quarrel between a person who is very powerful and the weak one is tortured, I always stand by the weak. That has been my principle. Because weak needs protection. The powerful, the wealthy, the strong should not be added more protection. All our laws are against the principle of Charles Darwin, because he said in his book Origin of Species that there is always struggle for existence in the world and the inevitable result is survival of the fittest. But here in India, we see, although there is outwardly struggle, inwardly there is perfect harmony. The plants discharge oxygen which we need for our survival, and we discharge carbon dioxide which is needed by the plant digests it. Otherwise the world would have been burnt to ashes. So there is a perfect harmony, that is a divine plan, and we should see to the bottom of the truth, not only the surface. So we see this harmony. The man is a part of the society, a part of the family is a part of the society is a part of the nation is a part of the world is a part of the universe is a part of Prakriti, and Prakriti is a manifestation of Brahman. So from the lowest atom to the highest Brahman, everything is interrelated and there is only one existence. So love for truth and justice is my matter of my point of interest, and I always follow it without any bias. Now,
Thank you, sir.
the third point which I adhere to is hard work with unselfish motive. Work with selfish motive is something different. There will be many hardworking entrepreneurs, hardworking politicians, hardworking farmers. But if you have an unselfish motive, the whole work is changed, transformed. Suppose somebody is farming and is thinking that I will produce more and I will sell my products and I will get more money, then I will make a building. That's all right. That's not a crime. But if he cultivates a different faith, because there is starvation, there is shortage of food, and I will supplement it, I will pay for the progress of my nation. So the entire things are different. Suppose somebody is having a national flag, but after the independence, he thinks, what is this? Only a piece of cloth. I can use it as a pillow cover. And other people think that, no, this is not a piece of cloth. This is the history of our nation. This contains the fights of our national heroes with the British, with the foreigners. So this is a great symbol which inspires our youth, which inspires the nation. So you will worship it. You will not misuse it. This is simply attitude makes the difference. So the work becomes worship if we have a broader perspective, if you have a great vision. And Swami Vivekananda used to say, unselfishness is life, selfishness is death. Love is life.
I was following Swami Vivekananda's model. I think he talks about at one point like the three powerful ways to open up the power of human mind is to power of concentration. As you already said, the focus makes a difference between an ordinary person and an extraordinary person. The second principle that he talks about is power to take a decision in the right moment, the power to decide. And the third one is being little unselfish. So I think it's a very wonderful concept. And then yoga being a concept of everything at the root, like we all talk about tapa, santosha, astikya, dana, ishwar pujan, siddhanta, shravan, hri, mati, and all the different values that yoga talks about. I think most of them definitely you have been on a path. So the question is, how can we really replicate these values or transform many other youngsters right now on this path? At least some of those people can come and then be a torchbearer and then be an example of leading this nation, leading this world at this time of crisis. So what are you?
I believe
on
what
that?
Swami Vivekananda said, an ounce of practice is much better than tons of speech. And the moment somebody becomes serious, if he starts practicing it, then only gradually he will realize the greatness. I remember one Roma Rola met Rabindranath Tagore in England, and he asked him, I want to know India. Then Ravi Tagore told him, if you want to know India, study Vivekananda in him. Everything is positive and nothing negative. Many people tell like that. Many people advises. Thousands of students are listening, but they are not reading. And somebody starts reading a book, 2-3 pages, then he gets tired, then he stops it. But he was a serious listener, and he went to a library and he went through the entire complete works of Swami Vivekananda, and the inevitable result was that he became a devotee of India. He wrote 4 biographies, out of which 3 are of Indians. One is Mahatma Gandhi's biography, another is Ramakrishna's biography, and the third one is the biography of Swami Vivekananda. And a foreigner, in a reading Swami Vivekananda, how he grasped, I am astonished. And the book name of the book is The Life of Swami Vivekananda and the Universal Gospel. In that book, he wrote, many Indians have not also understood Swami Vivekananda like that. He wrote, I cannot toss these sayings of Swami Vivekananda, scattered as they are through pages at 30 years distance without receiving a thrill through my body like an electric shock. And what sucks, what transports must have been produced when in morning words these were issued from the lips of me. So we should be serious in our intention. And unless we are serious, only casual reading or looking into things not. And we should also practice starters. If we want to transform India, there is no other way. Without transforming Indians, we cannot transform India. And one who dreams of transforming India cannot do it without transforming himself. So transformation should come from ourselves. Then only it is possible. Then we can be inspired by looking at the example of others. I remember our Madhusudan Das from Odisha, when he was at the age of 85, and he was unable to move freely also. And by that time his residential house was auctioned. He was insolvent. One women's society sent a letter requesting him to give some inspiration. Words of inspiration. He sent a small letter in response to that letter. He said, I am the first Odia graduate. I am the first Odia postgraduate. I am the first Odia Vakil. I am the first Odia advocate. I am the first Odia member to the Legislative Council. I am the first Odia member to the Viceregal Council. I am the first Odia MA. I am the first Indian minister to resign the post of the Ministry of Local Self-Government. He resigned the post, demanding that the post of ministry should be honorary, because everybody serving under him was honorary. Then government did not obey it and he resigned. Then he told that the first Bengali graduate died a pension deputy magistrate. If the first Odia graduate could do so much, then you can do much more. You can march ahead much more than me. So there are many people whose life is a source of great inspiration. We shall have to give them these books. Ideal teacher and good parents, inspiring books, and educative atmosphere. All these combined can create an inspiration within the student, within the youth. And there should be a attempt from their side also to grow, to develop.
But should this be also part of our education? Like, I think the value education, the lifespan education is not being taught. It is the objective world mostly. Not the subject is not taught.
In our Vedic period, exactly religion might be a misnomer, but dharma was the basis of our education. Many great men have also stressed on it. But in present days, for political reasons, we have an allergic attitude towards many words like dharma. So he discovered an English alternative, English equivalent, although it's not equivalent, that is value education. So out of this allergic attitude, dharma does not mean Hindu or Muslim or Christian. Dharma means some eternal principles which are very conducive to human welfare.
Right.
So education based on dharma, as it is told in modern age, as value education is quite essential. And I think in our new education policy, it has been given new importance to. But it is probably the first nation in the face of the earth that after 73 years of their independence, they followed the path almost prepared by the foreign rulers, be it education, be it police law, be it agriculture, everything else. We imitated like blind people. 25 years back, one of my friends, advocate friends, when I was in a court in a concern of a case, he told me, why do you have this shikha? What is the scientific reason for it? I told that, what is the reason of your wearing a black coat and gown? What is the scientific reason behind it? He told that this is nonsensical. Yours is nonsensical because you put on a dress which is very unscientific. Because in Britain, in America, they have a whole year they are having snowfall. Their temperature is less than 0 degree. So it is suit to their condition. But here in India, a hot country, you should wear a dhila pajama. Why should you imitate the British? Like dogs. In the name of science, you are practicing all sort of unscientific things. By mere imitation, no nation can be great. And Swami Vivekananda used to say, a nation is not great and good because its parliament is next this and that. A nation is great and good because its people are great and good. So, if laws would have made us great, then India should have been the greatest of nations in modern age because we are having the biggest number of laws and our constitution is the longest constitution, written constitution. But it's not like that. Britain has no written constitution. Their democracy is much more powerful than us.
Right, right, totally. So, what is the future? Like, looking back at this history that we have been already talking about, Swami Vivekananda talked about so many good things. So, when we really stand about the future of the nation right now, future of the world right now, because of the current situation of COVID-19 pandemic, what are your views on that, sir?
Yes, Swami Vivekananda also warned about that. He has said the Europeans and Americans that unless you make spirituality as the basis of your civilization, within 3 generations you are to be finished. And Swami Vivekananda Chicago address started in 11 September 1893. And in the same 11 September, the Trade Center of America was finished by the Al-Qaeda extremists. So, because we did not make spirituality as our center of life. But the first thing is that we should go very deep into the personality. We are having many institutions of personality development. They are teaching how to decorate your nails, how to decorate your hairs, how to design your dresses, and how to express saying thank you. Whenever you meet somebody, how to handshake and all these things. These are only polishing the outer side. In a human personality, the unseen dimension is much bigger than the visible dimension.
That's right.
In Himalayan ranges, in Himachal Pradesh or Kashmir, you can see many white stones. When you go and touch them, you can realize that these are not stones, these are snows. But thousands years of stay make them stone-like only, hard like stones. And they may be melted sometime. And if you see that they are above the earth only 15 or 20 feet. But if you go on drilling them, you may find that they are 1500 feet below the earth.
Wow.
Similarly, our unseen dimension is a bigger area that is not being taken care of. Mahatma Gandhi has 3 monkeys. One is on the ears, another is on the eyes, another is on the mouth.
Oh.
Manifesting that I shall not see evil things, I shall not speak evil words, I shall not hear evil sounds. But Gandhiji has also admitted that these things are not complete. Because closing all these doors of our senses, we can do many crimes and many sins. That is the center of our mind. And if the mind is not pure, which is not visible, then all these doors, if you shut all these doors, it cannot help you an inch. Similarly, All the attempts of our yoga and sadhana is to purify the mind so that the ultimate truth will reflect in the mind as your face is reflected in a pure and calm water.
Right.
So how to purify this mind is a challenge. Even Arjuna asked Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Vayori Vasudushkaram. It is very difficult to control this mind. How can I do it? And Sri Krishna gave a very beautiful reply immediately. Vairagyena abhyasena chakantayo vairagyena chagrihita. These things can be practiced. It's difficult, Sri Krishna told that, yes, it is difficult. He did not reject it, Arjuna's claim. Yes, it is difficult, quite difficult, but not impossible. As a very compassionate teacher, he held his hand. Yes, Arjuna, it's difficult, but you are competent enough. You can master over the situation. And there are two weapons I am giving you. Abhyasena tukanteya vairagyena chagrihita. So, like that, we can develop a sense of confidence among all the aspirants, all the students, that we can do it. We are not slaves to our mind. We should be master of our mind and we can do it. So, courage is needed. Courage is not only needed in the battlefield, in the battle of the life also courage.
Right.
It is cowards who commits many sin and crime. Somebody killed a person because in the Sarpanch election he defeated him. So he killed him. Why did he kill him? Out of fear. Those who killed him, he is a coward. Kamsa killed all the sons of Devaki. Why? Out of fear. That I cannot face death. I am afraid of death. If you would have courage, he said, all right, let the Akashvani come. Let me die out of the eighth son of Devaki. What matter? If I will die today, what matters? I would have died 15 years after I will die today. Our Krantikari told, all right, what is that problem? They wrote letters to their mother. Mother, would you cry? The death which was sure to come after 50 years, it came within 6 months. What is that? It is Marna Mala for me. I am dying for the nation. No problem. You should not cry for that. You are the mother of a lion. You are a lioness. You need not cry. They understood the secret of life and death. So they didn't have fear. So when somebody commits a crime, it is out of fear. Fear is the basic reason. If you analyze, we'll see that fear is the basic reason. Whether I will lose my power, whether I will lose my wealth, whether I will lose my position. So I can kill my neighbor for that. So again, this fear is the root cause, and the cause behind this fear is selfishness. Because our self is limited within this body. So we commit all the crimes for everybody who is connected with this biological body. Man is not born to be confined with this biological body. Man is the only living being who can transform, who can go beyond this body. So we should acquaint ourselves with this infinite nature of man. René Descartes was a German philosopher who used to say that I can doubt the existence of this school. I can doubt the existence of my school, my residential house. I can also doubt the existence of this physical universe. I can doubt my physical body. I cannot doubt myself. The doubting self can never be doubted. So, education in our culture is two types, para and apara. Whatever we read, even our rishis say, even the history, geography, physics, everything else, including the Vedas, are ordinary sciences. And probably our rishis are the most courageous one who said that our sacred book Vedas is also an ordinary science, that is aparavidya. And when the student asks, what is paravidya? You say, he asked, Kasvinnu bhagavo yati sarvamidam vigyatam bhavati. What is that principle by knowing which we can know the whole universe? And the rishi says, there are two types of vidya, para and apara. Apara is everything from history to philosophy and to Vedas. Para is that which gives us the knowledge of the ultimate, the invisible one, which is the substratum of all this physical universe, of the visible universe. That is paravidya. And the student asks, how can I get it? This says, Satyameva jayate nanratam. Truth only will triumph. Sometimes it may seem that truth is covered by ignorance, but as the sun cannot be covered by black clouds every time, it will be removed and the sun will reflect. Similarly, truth cannot be covered for all time, and the truth is within you. So, there should be some spiritual orientation, and this can be done only a person who has a longing, who has a relation, and for that to implement this new education policy, we need first the teacher training course. Unless the teachers are inspired, if they think themselves that they are the paid employees of the nation, then whole things they spoil. They are not comparable to any paid employees. They are torch bearers. They are not only giving some information, they are torch bearers, they are inspirers, they are nation builders. Unless they are very much conscious of their great responsibility, they cannot do justice to this profession.
Like that is why they said, like, you can get the information from the internet, but the real knowledge, the wisdom that comes from the teacher, a real master, a guru, so only that person can transform and make that knowledge assimilate, so that that will be reflected in the person's personality. So one of my last questions, sir, is because we are running out of time. So what do you think about the role of technology right now? Because we talk about education, we talk about spirituality. So do we think that the technology can make us to reach to that state of Satyug, even in being in Kali Yuga time, to transform ourselves by going inside, by looking at the subjective knowledge? And what is the role of India in seeing the global
technology? You say our forefathers have told us that there are two dimensions of knowledge, two dimensions of human personality. We can satisfy our physical needs through technology. We are importing food grains from America when Lal Bahadur Shastri was the Prime Minister, and America threatened us. And Shastri told us, I can cancel the treaty that was made with you, and I can ask my countrymen to be self-reliant. In those days, it was a magic. It was impossible. But Shastri had the courage. He started fasting on Monday and asked the whole nation. He started giving lectures for the farmers on every Sunday through radio. But during the period of Indira Gandhi, we took the help of technology, and Green Revolution started, but we spoiled our atmosphere. So technology should be meant for sustainable growth. We cannot spoil the whole atmosphere. During Corona, we got elation that the whole creation is not only for ourselves, and we have no right to spoil the biodiversity of this creation. And who is the destroyer of this creation? The destroyer of this Prakriti is man. Tiger, elephant, all these animals never destroy Prakriti. They are protector of this biodiversity.
That's right. So
only human, the greatest creature of God, is responsible for spoiling everything. Who spoils the water of the river? Who pollutes everything else? Who is responsible for this plastic load? We are that. E-waste, every waste, we are responsible for that. Man is responsible. So if man is imprisoned, nature will laugh, nature will dance with joy. Elephants will come out. Peacocks will dance in the road. Elephants will take bath in the river. We spilled everything. We sent our wastewater up industries to there. We sent everything. We sent dead bodies in the Ganges. We spoiled everything, every beauty and charm of this creation. So man should be taught with the relation of sustainable growth, how to live in tune with nature. This nature conquering technology is imported from foreign, but we loved nature. We worshipped nature. We call nature as Mata, Prakriti Mata. We call river as Mata. We call mountains as God. We call vrikshas as God, trees as God. So we have seen the presence of the Almighty in every particle of this nature. Now they are discovering Ishvara particle, God particle, but we have discovered it in ages before. Our sages
in the form of prana. Prana is what so binds.
Yes. So we should love nature. Unless we love nature, we develop a serious. Our all ancient universities, ancient gurukulas are in forest. They develop a sense of love and respect towards this nature and biodiversity. Our students from the very boy. But now in these palatial buildings, we lost this beautiful aspect of human personality. How to love the nature. Nature is quite essential, and we cannot live without nature. So man should be the protector of this nature, protector of this biodiversity. Instead of man has been a destroyer, a killer. Mercilessly, brutally, heartlessly, we have been killing this biodiversity. So we can develop it. And besides that, we should develop this patriotism within us. After 73 years of independence, we have seen many Vaimans in our country. They are in every field, in teaching, in politics, in military, in business, in crickets, everywhere we have seen it. Science cannot change a degenerate man into an honest one. विज्ञान के द्वारा बेईमान को हम ईमानदार नहीं बना सकते, देशद्रोही को देशभक्त नहीं बना सकते, भ्रष्टाचारी को सदाचारी नहीं बना. For that we have to come to our culture, and what our culture says, Mata Bhumi Putram Parthivya. Jannim Janma Bhumischa Swargadapi Garyas. So love for the motherland, love for the nation is quite essential. Patriotism is needed, and that only inspires us to become a man in the true sense of the term. I remember when our Gopun Das asked for a certificate to Mayurbhanj Maharaja Ramchandra Dev so that he will leave his palace and come to Cuttack to join Madhubabu in the greater field of work. Ramchandra Vanjadev gave him a certificate which is very peculiar and unique. This is to certify that Gopun Das is a man. So many animals in human form does not develop a country. There should be manliness within us, and that is the best part in our teaching which is needed.
So, sir, in the 12th century, as you know, that Odisha was the richest and most prosperous state in the whole country.
Yes.
So now it's 21st century, maybe 22nd century. Do you see that Odisha taking a major role in terms of leading the country or leading the world in terms of spirituality and then education and leadership development? So what is the role of all ODIs? Because all ODIs are getting inspired with your talk. So what do we special role play?
Odisha was a richest state because not that Odia people were serving and getting very huge salary in multinational companies, but because of their trade and commerce. Our artisans, our farmers, they produced many things which were sold in foreign markets and were earning many revenues. So now we are a job-seeking race. That is the tragedy. Some people come to me. A few days back, a young man came to me when I was in a meeting and started his revolutionary speeches that after having so much of degrees, what are we doing? We are not getting a job. What the government is doing? Like that. I listened to him 5 minutes. Then I asked, you be seated there. I asked, what is your qualification? BA. All right. I gave a piece of paper, write down 5 Odia words. Right. Then he wrote, Abhyudaya Bharata and 5 words, simple words. Only Bharata was correct. All other words were incorrect. I told that, my boy, you are not fit for any job. What sort of job you can do? Can you teach class 2 students? Can you work as a peon? Can you write the address of a letter correctly? This is your qualification. There may be many shortcuts to certificates. There cannot be any shortcut to knowledge. Sadhana is required. So what shall I do? You should go and start reading Varnabodha. Make yourself competent to find out any job. Then when come to me, I will give you a job. What job you can do? Similarly, when VRCC came to me, congratulated me. I told that you are VRCC. All right. I will. So you are the most resourceful person in this block. That is support. All right. Right. 5 answers. I give 5 questions. Only if you do not like me, I shall not like you. Use make it another sentence with the same meaning, conveying the same meaning using unless. He could not do it. I asked him to write from India. What will be the Indians? He wrote Indians. Then from America, Americans. From England, he wrote Englandian. Like that, 5 questions I put, all were wrong. So that I told that Matrubhumi Matrubhasar Mamata Jahude Janami Nahi Taku Jadi Gyanan Ganar Raiva. Days Raiva Nahi. Many teachers write it Agyani. But he wrote a Samsara Kehi Raiva Nahi. Who is the poet of this stanza? He could not say. That is in the academic curriculum. Then you could not say. Then you are the most resourceful person of this. What will be the fate of our nation if you people work as a teacher? Then, all right, you go. Then our Mandal president told, sir, you took the answer script. All right, it will be for my purpose. No, it will be shown to the collector and the DPC. No, sir, don't do that. I told that, is there any word in the dictionary known as Englandian? Yes, that. Have you seen it? Yes, it is correct. All right, I'm bringing the dictionary. No. So all your answers are incorrect. Only an opposite word, that is Shraddhavan, you have corrected. Otherwise, all your answers are incorrect. How can you teach our primary students? So our spinal cord of education is spoiled by incompetent teachers like you. You neglected your student life, no matter, but you should be serious in your teacher's life. The worst student may be a good teacher, may be a best teacher if he strives hard. So that is the position in our country. The academic sphere is very bad, and the character value is worse also. So, but I'm always optimistic. I remember when somebody asked Sri Aurobindo that Vivekananda dreamt of a better India, a most vibrant India, and he forecasted about it. You are also saying that, but no symptoms is visible. He told that we are living in the darkest night before dawn. Swami Vivekananda used to say, if the seed is got rooted, then an ordinary man will say it is finished, but the farmer will say, now germination will take place, only the seed gets rooted, the germination is not taking place. So probably we have reached the climax, and the visual signs of regeneration of Mother India is coming up. The eastern horizon is bright with this beautiful color of sunrise, and probably in our generation we are going to visualize it.
Sir, thank you very much for your very, very wise talk, and then I think it's very insightful. I personally take every word of yours that is the right path to go, because I also myself is a great admirer. My childhood hero and all the time hero is Swami Vivekananda. I think if we just listen to one or two sentences that you have talked about today and try to make it as a principle in our own personal life, and try to bring in the change within, and then try to see the change outside, obviously things will happen in a different way. But I'm also an optimist like you. I believe that at the right time, the technology and spirituality are marrying together, and this merger, this marriage will definitely give rise to a new world of possibilities. So problems will be many, but the possibilities will outnumber the problems that we are going through. And then many examples like personalities like you would be definitely inspiring all of us right now. So let's join hands, and I'm looking forward for the teachers training program that you talked about. I think teachers and leaders, if we can make some of those as a value education or as a dharma education, then definitely moksha will not be far away. We can really understand the real moksha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, not the other way, kama, artha, dharma, moksha. So if we put it in the right order, and definitely we can achieve that. So thank you very much, sir. It is a great time for all of us to be inspired with your wisdom, and wish you all the best, all success in your political career and your patriotic career. Like you are serving the world in every respect possible, without putting your self-interest at all, by looking at the others. That's called purohit, like par ka hit jo sochta hai, isko purohit kehte hain. So you are the true purohit, you are a true priest. So we salute you, and we namaskar. Thank you very much for your time, and then we would look forward to see you again. We would like to have a little bit longer session, probably if you have got some time. So we'll have a series of sessions with you to make it a stronger webinar, like a leadership program that we can start thinking about it, because you've got so much of wealth of knowledge. Thank you very much. It's a great privilege for all of us to have you, sir. Thank you.